The Pilot's New Journey. Hello, and welcome to Slow English Stories. This is a place where you can listen, repeat, and learn English through real and inspiring stories. Today's story is called The Pilot's New Journey. It's about a man who moved to a new country to start again and to follow his dream of becoming a pilot. A new country. When I first arrived in this country, everything felt new. The streets, the people, even the air. Everything was different. I came with one suitcase, a few clothes, and a big dream. I didn't know what would happen next, but I knew I wanted to build a new life here. The first weeks were hard. I didn't know many words in English. When people spoke to me, I smiled and said, "Yes, thank you," even if I didn't understand. At night, I listened to English podcasts. I repeated words again and again. Airport, airplane, captain, flight, sky. Those words made me dream again, because since I was a child, I wanted to fly. The dream to fly. When I was young, I used to sit near the airport fence. I watched planes take off and disappear into the clouds. I thought, one day, that will be me. But in my old country, life was not easy. My family didn't have much money, and pilot school was expensive. So I studied engineering instead. I worked hard, but my dream stayed in my heart. Now, in this new country, I wanted to try again. But there was one big problem. My English. I needed to understand everything. Instruments, radio communication, even small details in manuals. So I started small. Every morning, I read one page of an English book. Every evening, I watched videos about airplanes. Slowly, I began to understand more. It wasn't easy, but I was moving forward. New challenges to apply for flight school. I needed to pass an English test. The first time, I failed. I felt sad and embarrassed. But my teacher told me, "Don't stop now." Every pilot had a first failed flight. That made me smile. She was right. Failure is not the end. It's part of the flight. I practiced every day. I repeated sentences aloud. I listened to airport conversations, air traffic recordings, even weather reports. At first, it sounded like noise. But then, one day, I understood. Cleared for takeoff, runway 27. That small moment felt like victory. It meant progress. Finding hope. I started working part-time at a small airfield, cleaning hangars and helping mechanics. Sometimes pilots let me sit inside the cockpit. I didn't fly, but I learned. I learned how they speak, how they think, how they stay calm in the sky. One pilot said, "Flying is 80% preparation and 20% courage." I never forgot those words. Now, I'm saving money and preparing for flight school again. This time, I believe I will make it. Not because it's easy, but because I've learned to keep going. Every step counts. Every word I learn brings me closer to the sky. First flight. After months of studying and saving, I finally started flight school. The first day, I was nervous. Everything looked serious. The airplanes, the instructors, the checklists. My hands were shaking a little, but my heart was full of excitement. When I sat inside the small plane, I felt something I can't describe. It was quiet, but powerful. I looked at the controls, the sky outside, and thought, "This is it. This is my dream." The instructor smiled and said, "Ready?" I nodded. We started moving down the runway. The sound of the engine grew louder, the plane began to lift, and suddenly, we were flying. The ground became small, and the sky opened wide. It felt unreal, like a dream, but real. I will never forget that moment. Learning to trust myself. The next few weeks were full of challenges. Flying was not just about moving a plane. It was about focus, patience, and discipline. I learned how to read the instruments, how to talk to the tower, how to land safely. Sometimes I made mistakes. Once I came down too fast, and the instructor said, "Don't fight the plane. Work with it." That advice stayed with me, not just for flying, but for life. At home, I practiced English every evening. I repeated aviation words, watched flight lessons online, and spoke to myself in English. Sometimes I even dreamed in English. It was strange, but beautiful, a sign that my brain was learning. A message to everyone who's starting again. Now, I am close to finishing my first year of flight school. I still have a long way to go, but I'm proud of how far I've come. When I look back, I see a man who was scared, lost, and unsure. And now I see a man who flies, not just in the air, but in life. If you are listening to this story, maybe you are starting something new too. Maybe you moved to a new country. Maybe you are learning a new language or trying to build a new life. It's not easy. I know. But remember, every word you learn, every small step you take, brings you closer to your dream. Don't stop. Don't give up. Dreams are like airplanes. They need time to take off, but once they do, the sky is open. Closing words. Thank you for listening to Slow English Stories. This was The Pilot's New Journey, a story about hope, courage, and learning English step by step. If you enjoyed this story, please share this video, like it, and subscribe to the channel. There will be more stories like this, about real people, real dreams, and real English you can use every day. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself. See you in the next story. Bye for now.